Hello, guys. My name is Z, and I'm going to be taking you through the Starknet paymaster integration. So, paymaster is a very essential feature because it helps users to conduct gasless transactions and also allows developers to fund the transactions or alternatively allow users to use other tokens to pay for their transactions. So in this example, I'm majorly going to be doing gasless transactions because I'm creating a voting Dapp that allows users to increase and decrease voice. I kept the app or the Dapp very simple so that we can understand the basics and just like implement basic read write functions. So I'm loading up my Dapp here, and this is the contract ABI of my contract, and this I got by deploying the contract on Starknet Sepolia and then importing the ABI from there. If you want to uh, implement the same Dapp or follow along, you can just go to my GitHub, clone it, and then you can have all the code. You can still use my address or deploy your own contract, right? So under the coins, you can see the different coins that you can integrate using Paymaster. There are more coins, but these are majorly for the testnet environment, and you can allow users to use any of these tokens to pay for their gas fees instead of the default uh, chain token, right? So this is the voting Dapp, and the first thing you do is connect your wallet. If you're going to use a ready wallet to implement this or to play around with this, make sure it's deployed. And if it's not deployed, just do a basic transaction. It could be receiving and sending test tokens, and it will automatically deploy. So once it's deployed, that's the only time it has access to the SIP29 implementation, which is the protocol or the standard behind the whole paymaster thing. So unless it's deployed, you might have trouble using the wallet to do paymaster transactions. So on to the very first thing. The first thing you do is deploy your contract. So if you have not deployed your contract, just do a simple contract on Remix, integrate your Starknet plugin on the bottom left, and then just connect your wallet that has some Sepolia or test tokens. Deploy your contract and make sure it's visible on Starknet Voyager. So you should be able to see your contract, your ABI, as well as your code on Starknet Voyager. So once you go on Starknet Voyager, it should show you your contract. It should appear there. And on testnet if this is your first time deploying. So once your contract is ready and deployed, you can now have it as a variable in your integration. So this is a basic Starknet React, Starknet JAX implementation, Starknet JS, sorry, implementation. And we can get you have to get the API and integrate it as so that you can be able to call the contracts from there. So under the voting tab now, you also have the ENV. I did an example so that you may be able to see how you can integrate your own. This RPC is readily available or public. And then to get the Paymaster API, which you need, you have to go to the Paymaster Telegram channel. I will link it below. And once you're there, just say you need an API because that's what you'll use to sponsor the transactions or integrate the whole thing. So you need an API, just go ask for it in this channel and someone will DM you with the API key, and that's what you will use here. That is under your ENV. That should be inside the voting tab. So once you have the ENV and the public RPC ready, the next thing you do is to integrate your providers and the address. So I have this under my lib utils. So this is my provider, which I get from the public RPC, and the contract address is what I deployed, the same contract you can see on Voyager. So the contract need to be deployed. You might need to use this as well, or you can just deploy your own contract or have a whole different functionality, but you need a contract to interact with, right? Dar. So You can see your code, and this is where you also get your ABI in case you're wondering. So get your ABI and name it differently. Give it a name under your under your ABI folder. So once you have these two things set up, the other thing you would want to do is have now the major setup. This is where the account um, connection is happening and disconnection. And this we're going to call two functions. The two functions we're calling are the decrease votes and the increase votes, as you can see on our front end. So these functions, we're going to do it in two ways. One, we're going to use Starknet React, and two, we're going to use Starknet JS so that you can see how you may implement either the two of them. And there are also other two ways of implementing this. You can allow users to use any token, or you can allow them to go completely gasless. So in this example, I'm going to be going completely gasless, and in another alternative, I will show you how to allow users to use different tokens in case that's the route you want to go. So let's get started. So this is the increase votes function. This is just calling the function from the backend, and the backend is increasing the votes and then calling it again. They get votes, and then we can see the increase from the front end. So the first thing you want to set up is your import really. So there are things you need to import from Starknet Core, as you can see at the top of my page, at the top of my file. Sorry. So these are some of the basic um, input you need. You need the free mode, you need the voting contract, you need the API, the ABI, and you need this use contract, use payment, estimate fees from paymaster. These are what you use to one estimate fees, use paymaster, and then call the transaction. So the first thing you'll also want to do is integrate the free mode, right? The fee mode. In this case, I'm using sponsored, but if you want to specify a certain token, you uncomment this code and you remove the sponsored mode. That's as easy as that, and that's how you get to allow users to use other coins instead of sponsoring the transaction. So there's the call data, the calls that you're supposed to send to the contract. This is how you set them up using the use memo. And then once they are all set up, then you call the paymaster functions that you imported from the top. So this is why you call the contract as well, the increase votes using the populate contract.populate. After calling it, now you can use paymaster estimate fees to estimate the fees just the way the function says, and then use paymaster to send the transaction. That's why you include the calls, the fee mode, as well as the estimated data. Then from there, you get the transaction receipt so that if it's not successful, you can get the error. And then handling decrease, you just have a error handling function to call the to send the transaction, and yeah, to check if the wallet is loaded. So that is how you do it using Starknet React. Now the decrease function, you're going to use it using the Starknet JS. So these are the imports needed for the Starknet JS. You obviously need the contract, the providers, and the user account. Now the call data and these imports for Starknet. So if you're going to use a specific token instead of sponsoring, you uncomment this code and the code above, the use effects above. That's how you use it in Starknet JS. And then now, uh, this is how you create the call data for the Starknet JS calling the function, right? So this is the payment details, and then you call this estimate paymaster transaction fee. That's the function you call. Execute paymaster transaction, and then you await the transaction. So once you have all these functions in place. Now you use the call data. After getting all these call data, now you can use it to call your decrease function back to the top. So in this decrease, handle decrease, you populate the calls using the contract address, the entry point, which is the function you're trying to call. This is the name of the function from the contract, and then the call data together with the amount that you have estimated. And that's how you call the decrease function, right? So those are the two methods or the four methods you can use to implement paymaster depending on your specific needs and also your user needs. So once you have implemented that, the only thing you can do now from here is maybe create a more complex structure or try to make it more progressive. So these are the major documentations that you might need for the Starknet React. There's also Starknet JS and also the Paymaster integration. The docs were a bit complex, might be a bit complex to understand, but you might check up other YouTube videos, or I hope this one will give you a better understanding how to use it. I believe the Paymaster is a very good feature for users because now we can have gaseous transactions, and especially for voters, for people who are just getting into Web3. So you can see this is the Paymaster calling the transaction and then doing the whole gas thing on the background. Users do not need to have gas in order to conduct their transactions. So yeah, the functions are well integrated, they are working from the back end. So feel free to clone this repo or fork it and then see how you can build on this simple Dapp to build more complex integrations. And if you're going to try it on local, make sure your agent wallet is deployed, because if it's not deployed, it does not support the SIP29. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about Paymaster and if you're going to implement it. Thank you.